Welcome to AAMI Stadium for this Saturday afternoon match between Adelaide and Carlton. It's a beautiful afternoon, but it won't be a beautiful evening for the coach and the losing team. The two combatants go in with just one win between them so far, and Malcolm Blight, they're both looking for a formula that's going to produce winning scores.
Sure are, Tim. It's an important day for them for this season. I think the loser of today probably can put finals aside, and that's a pretty hard thing to say after round 4, but I think it's showing that it's going to be true.
Well, let's have a look at the teams, and Adelaide haven't been able to kick a score this year. Their average over 3 games is just under 60 points.
Yeah, Paul Fleischer came back in last week. I think he'll be better for the run. Dangerfield after that awkward injury, Tippett from injury, Burton from injury, Knights from injury. So they've had their problems injury-wise on and off the field.
They're not the only team having problems kicking a winning score. Carlton are scoring a few more goals, but they don't really have regular suppliers.
No, they don't. They've got an extra one today, though, and the bloke in the middle there, Chris Judd, back in for the Carlton, the champ and the captain of the team, and I think he'll make a huge difference.
Will he make enough difference for Carlton to beat Adelaide, which is something they haven't done in their last 7 encounters?
No, look, I'm giving the Crows one last chance. I think the Crows at home just.
Adelaide and Carlton. It's a big game at AAMI Stadium. The first bounce is coming up.
Chris Judd won the toss, so the Blues will kick to left of screen. There was an earth tremor that shook Adelaide overnight. Tim, let's hope it's not a sign of things to come, because there'll be more than a tremor here this week if the Crows fail to get the points this afternoon.
I felt the earth move as I sat in my bed at 11:30 watching the end of Friday night football, Kel. Doesn't happen often to me when I'm watching the footy, but it did last night. Umpire Avon sets the game in motion. Marich a hand onto it, but Cruiser, the takeaway for the Blues, gives them an early chance. Betts was there, Doughty with him. Crows under the pump, but Goodwin finds the line, and you're allowed to do that. First score, a rush behind to the Blues.
Thank you. And they don't waste any time bringing it back into play. They work it through defensive 50. Goodwin nearly caught. Nearly brought down, back to McLeod, still not out of the danger zone. Rutten,
sorry, mate.
Vince, and here's the debutant, the first gamer, Phil Davis, as they try to clear it out a half-back over the boundary line. They'll have a throw-in. Phil Davis, a top 10 draft pick, 19-year-old. There's Chris Knights on screen, his first game for the year, back last week at the MCG.
See Brent Riley shoulder to shoulder with Judd, so he obviously has him early, although there'll be plenty of rotating of the roll. There'll be another bounce.
Interesting ploy then, Tim. Tyson Edwards came over the top of the 2 ruckmen. You would think that's a bit interesting, isn't it? That's a bit of a plaudit for Cruiser, I'd say.
Play on.
This time Adelaide win it with sheer front position, old-fashioned stuff. McCain out to Edwards, well wrapped up. Cruiser working hard for Carlton early.
Thank you. Ivan, focus the footy. Tyson.
So Marich
thank you.
Being given a message. He and Cruiser shoulder to shoulder. Marich trying to exert some physical presence on the Carlton man. Judd got it out a little dubiously. Now Gibbs has it, and Carlton are a bit of a chance. White gets his first kick. Just missed the leading O'Halpin. Carlton win it on the ground. Houlihan back to the Irishman. A wobbly old lefty. And out of bounds, a better result for the Blues than a behind. O'Halpin with 9 goals for the season. They're only 5 ahead of him on the leading goal-kicking table, which is quite remarkable.
As the ball spins back into play, yet to go down the Crows forward 50. This is McKay and Houlihan. And McKay happy to see it over again, so we'll go again.
Kelly, Vince running with Murphy, the 2 youngsters, the 2 young tyros.
2 emerging young guns, of course. Vince, the best and fairest winner last year for the Crows, as Yaron through traffic, spins around, puts it on his right. How does it look? And the Blues out of the blocks through Yaron. A great start.
Well, that's truly amazing. There's so many players around the footy, and it's a really nice snap in the end. And well, it's been down their end. I guess you're going to kick goals if it keeps staying down the Carlton end. Here's Yaron. The most amazing thing, have a look how many players are and the pace of Yaron to get round 3 or 4 real Crows players, and he's pretty happy about that, and so he should be.
So Carlton doing all the attacking early and achieving the first 2 scores. A win to Cruiser, and Judd was held. So it's Carlton's ball again. And a 50, which will bring the captain to within range. And Testy's goal kicking very early on in his 2010 season. It brings him to within 30, or perhaps even a bit closer.
Clear it out, guys. 5 metres, guys.
The other thing is that I know there's only been 2 of them, Tim, but they've whacked him in the middle. Crows have hardly touched the footy.
Certainly had it when he was wrapped up in the tackle, but it was the initial tackle deemed illegal. Judd kicks Carlton second. It's a flyer for the Blues.
Oh, I don't know why you want to be doing that. Do it when he's going for the footy. That's the best part to do it. Everyone running into him. All that'll do is stir up a champion, I reckon. Yeah, he did. His left hand smacked it. So, to the letter of the law, that was a 50-metre penalty.
Well, they're targeting him, the Adelaide Crows. It'll bring a big smile to Carlton fans out there. Chris Judd suspended for the first 3 weeks. A goal on the board in the opening 5 minutes. The perfect start. Crows looking for their first clearance. McLeod, poor pleasure. Broadcast wing brought down, affected the kick. Out there is Russell. He can't control it. And Petrenko sees it over the line.
Well, Jim, before the game we talked about the pressure of the midfield, and I guess whoever wins in the midfield, the forward lines aren't great on paper. They haven't been performing that well. So whoever's going to get their ball in their forward half more often, I think, will win this.
Tippett was the 3rd man up in the ruck. Vince, little kick away. Petrenko again, desperate stuff in and under. Edwards just tries to barge his way through traffic. Now Judd caught up. Couple of quick handball here from the Crows. Cook needs to be quick, and a series of handballs gives it away to Douglas. Spins around. He's got no one to kick to. Looks for Tippett. Was bumped off the ball. Petrenko again. He's been in everything early on. Cook sweeping handball. Can't find a target. Scotland to Judd, and now they are away.
Carazzo gives to Murphy, and the Blues can run with the flow of the ball. Garlett, John Cock with him. Clever Garlett gives Yarran a second go at it. With the left, he curls it in. Beautifully done, and the Blues have 3. Crows shell-shocked in the early minutes here, and Carlton finding a way to kick some quick goals. Something that has eluded them, certainly over the last 2 weeks.
Well, what an amazing piece of play this. There's Garlett's tap back, just sensing that Yarran was behind him. The other thing, the Crows haven't had one effective kick yet. It's okay to handball. You've still got to get it on your boot at some stage to a teammate.
Garlett and Yarran and Betts all up forward for the Blues this afternoon. Going to make it tough for the Crows. Now they finally win possession. Knights over the top. Edwards has a bit of a dash and then kicks looking for Petrenko. Handballs back to Riley. He can't control it. And a really wobbly, shaky start, Malcolm, for the home side. It's not what Neil Craig would have been wanting.
No, Kel, I'd have to say that there's actually 2 kicks they found a teammate then, so hopefully that can settle down the team.
Burton lurking down in the forward line for the Crows. Tippett again from behind. And umpires picked out a free. And it will go to the Crows. McLeod now looking for Burton on the lead. Strong hands out in front.
Stay out, boys. Mark's back here, 1 metre. Stay out, boys.
The 2 veterans combining.
Just off the ball, Kelly, as we watch this in replay. Riley's gone off with Judd, so the both of them are going to have a rest at the same time.
Scott. Cheers, mate.
Brett Burton kicked 3 of the Crows' 5 goals last week. Of course, the Crows just restricted to 1 in the second half against the D's. Here's the task in front of him. Oh, and it's Sloot off the side of the boot. He's just nudged it out to the left. It stays in play. Dangerfield is there, sees it over. Goal kicking accuracy has been a problem for the Crows in the first 3 rounds this year.
Scoring chance still. Tippett had to get rid of it, having taken it out. And he was given no leniency, but adjudged not to have disposed illegally. Scotland for Carlton through the traffic. Gibbs and the Blues making a cool takeaway. Joseph to Carazzo, and down the wing they go in the Houlihan direction. Attack the ball, but perhaps a bit zealously. Schmidt to Doughty for Adelaide, and back to Schmidt. Crows building again. Douglas loose. Adelaide still looking for its first score. Good place for it now in the corridor. Marriage to McLeod. Probing ball to within range, and Burton has beaten White again.
No, stop.
Adjudged a free kick and no advantage permitted by umpire Mollison.
No, good call. Quite obviously free kick here. Really obvious free kick. Petrenko had the right idea, but he dwelt. And the umpire has made the right call there.
Big job for a first gamer on Brett Burton, who led White to the ball a moment ago and then missed with his shot. This time with front position, has won the free kick. He's a little closer to goal and should kick this. He tests the boundaries and he misses. Oh, that's frustrating for the Crows. Still goalless, 3 goals down.
He's missed to the left and he's missed to the right.
Okay, now you can go.
Might be third time lucky. This is Russell, former South Australian, on kick-in duties. Short to Gibbs, another South Australian playing in front of his former home crowd. Again, they combine. Last line of defence, and then drags it out wide. And that's Joseph. Off to the run of Jamison on the outer side. One out there is Henderson. Takes the mark.
Gee, if you work your way through the zone with good kicking, the Adelaide Crows might not touch this. It's fine standing in space, but if the kicking's good, you're never going to touch the footy.
Well, Houlihan is a beautiful kick, and that delivery straight to Betts. Now over to Carazzo, back to Betts. Got himself in a bit of a muddle. Betts is brought down by Thompson. Somehow the Blues keep it in play, although Houlihan says, yep, nowhere to go. Disguises it well. So a throw in about 70 metres out from Carlton's goal. The Crows still searching for their first.
They got it 3/4 of the way, Malcolm. They just couldn't take the last couple of steps. Cook climbs in for Adelaide, brings it to Thompson, and the Crows are away. Both teams bringing their forward halves well up to the woods at midfield and then trying to double back. Walker, though, repels for Carlton. Chance for poor pleasure. Joseph crashing through. Thompson beat him, though. To Rutten. Now McKay, and the Crows are away. Finds Knights. Setting it up for 2 of them. It hung, but not for too long. And McLeod able to mark. Kicks to Petrenko. Well taken. Lucas, his new opponent.
2 metres. Thank you.
More than a kick from goal, though. Just beyond range. And Petrenko has to just try and find a way in via Riley. So Adelaide still looking for their first after only 5 last week. Goes for Dangerfield, and in front of Walker, he's got it within range.
Well, Patrick Dangerfield, we all know about that heavy knock he received last week. Nice kick here from Riley. Put it out in front. He's got terrific hands, can lead quickly. It's almost a shame because I think he should develop as a midfielder too, but they're really having to play him up forward because they just can't kick goals.
Well, they're getting some chances now after a slow start, but they have to start converting. 3 goals down. Dangerfield with a 5-goal bag so far this year is not close. He's lucky to score a behind, and the Blues lead by 17 points.
Wasted opportunity for the Adelaide Crows. Could come back to haunt them. Russell to Walker. This is Andrew Walker playing for the Blues, not Taylor Walker, who of course is playing for the Crows this afternoon. Davis sees it over.
It's almost on the wing. It's about par from a kick-off now, Tim, don't you reckon? To the wing these days? No one standing, anyone?
Warnock and Tippett in the ruck. Robinson in there doing the hard work, wins a free kick. It's against McKay for too high. Mitch Robinson. retreats to go forward. Gibbs and Walker. Now over the top to Lucas. Made his debut last week, Western Australian. They've got numbers everywhere. Armfield to Lucas, and they go up the wing. Simpson stabs the ball in and finds Betts. So they did the switch really well then, Carlton. Eddie Betts, eyes darting, doesn't want to back himself in from here.
Look, there's hardly any breeze here today, Kelly. That pocket, whatever breeze there is actually wafting that end. So it should just drift it back by about a metre and a bit.
He doesn't. He goes low, and he was looking in there for Robinson. Couldn't take the mark. Judd's in there as well.
I think Eddie just has an aversion to the set shot. He likes the snap.
Yeah.
Eddie Betts is 5 goals, 10 so far this season. So inaccuracy has been a bit of a problem for him.
Now that would have been his go had he been able to snare the ball there, but he didn't. And away go the Crows. McKay, and this is a promising looking move, and they can turn this into something. The delivery is good. And Marriage too far out to score, but it's an open 50. Battle on and pretty well played for the Blues by Russell. Lucas, second gamer under the pump, did it well. It hung over the line for Russell, and Scotland and Carlton extricate themselves from trouble.
And Scotland gives it over the top to Walker, and then he goes to a one-on-one. Betts in front, strong hands. With Schmidt right on him. Marks in front of the interchange gates. And he kicks to a loose man, Cruiser. They're looking to bounce back. Struggled last week against the Bombers. Matthew Cruiser after a sparkling start to the season. So it's Carlton doing all the attacking in this opening term. Walker over to Lucas. He goes short. Gibbs can give it over to Murphy. Goes wider still. Russell now teams up with Murphy. It's 3-on-1. Murphy one way, then the other. Little slow and stagnant, patient on the build-up. Simpson, now a bit of movement in their thrust forward. Gibbs from well outside 50. Kicks to the square. In fact, it was the pocket. O'Halpin was the target and couldn't bring it down.
Just showing a bit more patience at the moment, Carlton, with the use of the footy. Was really well played, really well thought. Worked that play up forward then.
And out of bounds, a good result for Carlton. They're a good clearance-winning team. Robinson here, but Goodwin wins it for the Crows. Tippett lost it. Warnock, Murphy for Carlton. Warnock goes back for another go. Tippett, Houlihan for the Blues. Joseph, it's willing footy, and there'll be another throw-in, another restart. Carlton had a moment of opportunity as Warnock prized it out, but just weren't able to get it onto boot quickly enough. Warnock will ruck now with Tippett and reach over him with a height advantage. Garland is quick and dangerous. Crows still under pressure. Thompson, Burton, that might have crossed the line, although the boundary umpire was blindsided, and the Crows are away. Vince to Riley, and now it's their opportunity. Marriage, what's he got to go to? Portleasure's running forward. For the hand pass, though, it's John Cock. Has Walker opted to kick, and it was stolen off his boot. And Carlton can turn defence into attack. Jamieson, Murphy, Betts. Danger here for Adelaide. Walker, a long way from home, and he drills it into the chest of Houlihan.
Oh, it's imperfectly called, the smother. Unbelievable. Here's the smother. He didn't give up, Jamieson. He read it high. His hands were at an angle. And almost from that point on, it was always going to be a shot at goal for Carlton.
And the unpredictability of it had the umpire ducking for cover as the ball pinballed off Michael Jamieson's save for the Blues. And Ryan Houlihan, who has good skills, really should convert this and give Carlton a substantial break. Important moment. He squeezes it home, and the Blues have their fourth.
Well, it was a nice kick there by Houlihan, and gee, turnovers in football have always hurt, but particularly in today's footy. And a turnover at half back. And just good ball use then. The kicking's been good. It is a perfect day. Great seeing day, no breeze, perfect surface.
So the Blues with a real appetite for the contest as we have a look at Michael Jamieson, desperate stuff, former rookie. That's why they rate him so highly at the club, elevated into the leadership group over summer.
Kelly, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, all the stats, you can go wherever you like, but they've had 82% efficiency in this first quarter. They had 57% against Essendon last week. Is it bad kicking, good pressure from the opposition? It's probably all of those things, but they've kicked the ball beautifully.
Perhaps the challenge was laid down by their coach during the week as well. I guess, Malcolm, they probably walk a little bit taller knowing that their skipper, the inspirational Chris Judd's out there by their side this afternoon. Thompson, handball. Miss Cook. Going in hard was Garlett. Eyes only for the footy. Now Joseph, gang tackled. Vince, stolen by the Crows. Marriage, right in the bullseye to Petrenko. Fumbles. And might have been caught high. Still time here for the Crows to score. Petrenko out wide. All by himself is Doughty. Henderson corrals him, gives it off to Edwards, and then he goes into the pocket looking for Burton, and Burton gives away the free.
You know that during that play in the midfield, they had 5 or 6 handballs to Crow. It was only one out in the forward line. I just don't know why sometimes you actually just don't kick it.
Scotland, a bad fumble there. Lets Adelaide in. Just how costly we'll see. That is a clever snap by Petrenko. Walker it was. It just hovered over the goalpost, and it's a behind. So Adelaide still haven't hit the target. Heath Scotland made a mistake there that almost cost Carlton to the maximum, but they live to fight another day and now bring it safely in. Gives to Walker of the Blues.
Can't find their radar, the Adelaide Crows.
Oh,
and this has messed it up. A calamity here by Carlton. Burton didn't get to his boot to it.
Hit the post.
He did, but it hits the post. A la Wayne Rooney. His eyes lit up and he nearly gobbled it up.
It's nearly 3 goals for Brett Burton. Nearly.
Carlton can't get it out. Adelaide can't kick a goal. Let's see how the Blues go this time. Lucas to White, who's had some good moments. Armfield, and back to Lucas. Well tackled by poor Pleasure. It won a free kick. Adelaide are happy to take it on. Vince McLeod, Edwards, and he's held up by Simpson. He needed to hold him, and he did. And it keeps Edwards outside the 50 and just halts Adelaide's advance. Very crowded inside. And Edwards waits to find the right moment and the right spot to go to. And it's not easy to find either.
On the run, I have seen him kick a 55, 56 metre goal.
He's giving it some thought.
Yeah.
But in the end, he gives to Vince.
He's going to be no better off.
No, perhaps even a step further out. Bernie Vince, Adelaide best and fairest from Woodville. That's a nice bit of synergy, Malcolm.
Yes, it is. And a York Peninsula boy too, the Woodville zone in the old days. Tim?
He's going to have a go by the look of it. From 55 and a bit. Hanging, drifting, and Dangerfield not quite able to hang on to it, so it's a behind.
It's got a signal.
Well, he's got to get his hand up, does he?
He's got a signal.
Walker tried to play him
inform
quickly.
the scorers that it's a point.
Murphy trying to bring it out of the defensive 50. Carazzo, a couple of ball magnets teaming up. They go again. Murphy gets around one with these. Burton was bearing down, and now it's stolen by the Crows. Riley, can he manufacture something? Marking out in front, Douglas. And Richard Douglas will have a set shot only a few metres in from where Edwards and Vince didn't really want to back themselves in a few moments ago.
Crows have got the clamps on now, and they've forced a series of turnovers. Carlton having trouble getting it out.
Yep.
Richard Douglas. 1 goal for this season. Can he be the one that finally finds the big sticks in a frustrating opening to this game? He delivers. Crows have got their first on the board.
Well, once again, it's whoever can keep it in their forward line the longest will win this game. It's really midfield domination, and Crows got this one forward and really tried to keep it in their forward line as long as they could. They did that successfully in the end, and Richard Douglas could kick a goal, but centre bounce so important now.
Crows back to within 14 points, but more importantly, the complexion of the game has changed. Adelaide really starting to tighten Carlton up down in the Blues' back half. But here's a loose ball for Carlton, and Simpson seizes upon it. Missed Betts with the pass. Still a chance. Goes back inboard to Murphy.
Tyson, 1 metre.
Now he's outside range, you would think, out there. And that's his judgment he gives to Betts. It was Yaron, the initial target, up in the pocket. Betts uses the left and kicks a goal. Put himself under pressure. That's what he likes.
Well, some things you see and some you don't. Here's Simon Goodwin missing with the handball. So another turnover. So the midfield contest is won by Carlton. So they'll have a shot at goal. Did you ever expect it to be that sort of shot from that angle? Not really.
That's really the moral of the story for him, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
To do something like that from the set position, and he's far more likely to kick a goal.
Yeah, someone once said to me, they'd rather be lucky than good. And I think Eddie's taken that on board today.
You were both.
So 31 plays 11. The Crows through Thompson. Gives it plenty of air, this ball. Big contest. Burton from the back. Has he paid it? He has. Brett Burton took mark of the year, you might remember, round 22 last year against this side. So here he is in full flight.
Did he control it? Well, what I do know is that the young fella in front didn't touch it, so you probably pay that as a mark.
Two behinds and one that didn't quite make the distance. Is it fourth time lucky for Brett Burton? It certainly is.
Well, it keeps the game very interesting, doesn't it? Sort of a goal fest, 3 in a row virtually, 2 for the Crows. He's really missed with a punch because he ducked his head. First gamer in white. If he'd actually extended his arm and kept his head up, he would have hit the ball. So Burton's made him pay. Made the change down there too. Lucas now on to Brett Burton.
Late in the quarter. And again, Adelaide within 14 points. Had more scoring shots. Warnock and Marriage, neither getting an effective hand onto it. Lucas brought down by Douglas for Adelaide. And a ball up is the outcome.
I must say there's been some willing packs, hasn't there? When it's been in tight, they're actually, both teams are right at it.
And I think the signs for Adelaide by the end of the quarter reasonably promising after Carlton threatened to blitz them. Bounce favouring Cook. Oh, miscue though. He's not a ruckman. Betts bombs it in for the Blues. Out comes O'Halpin. Cock one down the middle. Yaron's got it again. He's been the danger man. Messed up the hand pass though, and John Cock has it under control. Finds the boundary. It was a great opportunity for the Blues, but Yaron's magic, which has prevailed a couple of times in the quarter, just deserted him there. John Cock back from his broken wrist, made good.
Had 2 to handball to then, Yaron, and missed both. John Cock back for his first game for the year. This is Cook to McLeod. Glides across the AAMI Stadium turf. Off to Rutten, not quite as quick as McLeod. He gets it back. He can release a runner out wide, and that's Schmidt.
It's been good, McLeod.
Just gets better with age. Andrew McLeod, what a champion he's been. Schmidt gives it off to McKay, and then a searching kick inside 50. The target was Knights, who puts it onto his left and nearly got there. Missed it by about a millimetre.
That was a line ball. Walker receives for the Blues and goes for territory and made sweet contact with the left. Too far for his man Robinson. And the bounce eluded Joseph. Marriage to Douglas. Adelaide looking for a late goal. Poor pleasure to Douglas. Good choice. Knights can go back and this time have a go from the set shot.
And what's happening now, Paul Pleasure's got a couple of touches, and now Knights, they're the two forwards that Adelaide have been missing at the start of this year. The small forwards who kicks goals. And Knights will have no problem with the distance at all. This will hit halfway up the back grandstand. Just his accuracy. It's a lovely long kick.
Saw Nathan Bock in the crowd. He'll be having a chat to us at half-time. Sidelined, of course, with a hamstring injury out of last week. Knights to really eat into this margin, but only to the tune of 1. It's back to 13 points in the last minute of the quarter. Now, precarious moment for Carlton. They're having some problems with the kick-ins, and it's not too late for Adelaide to kick another goal.
Well, the signal's gone up by Andrew Walker. He goes short, and Tim, you're all over it because it's chopped off by Patrick Dangerfield. And a chance here for Dangerfield to trim the margin right on the shadow of quarter time.
It's interesting, in the first few points they kicked the Crows, Carlton got that easy. It's like someone flicked a switch and said, hang on, we'll all move 5 metres over to the left, and it's just stopped the rot.
Patrick Dangerfield made a statement this week by really playing here this afternoon after that sickening neck injury he suffered. A night in hospital. And a chance here, well, to make it a 7-point ball game off hands.
It's another kick in though, Kel. 4 seconds left, anything could happen.
I don't bet on footy, but you can get on with me if you want.
And Gibbs a good man to have the ball, and he gives it to Murphy. And Carlton are through to quarter time, but they were really getting the wobbles late in that term. They started well. They lead by 12 points.
There's less than a kick in it that day. As we're underway, Warnock flies over the top. Judd, no surprises involved. Cook just dabs it, looking for Edwards, goes and gets it again. Gives it straight back to Judd, though. Cruiser, well, really well done at ground level, off to Murphy. Shoots for goal, slams into the post.
Interesting play that Cook had the ball there, was going to give it to a teammate, a handball he missed, but under more pressure than him. I mean, the handball insatiability is fine if you can know it's happening. I don't know why they want to do it all the time.
Adelaide clear the wing with 2 long kicks. Knights to Cook. Now John Cock, and back to Cook. And the Crows building this into something promising, but Burton fell over. And the first game of White took the mark. Gives to Arnfield, who is a dasher. Judd feeding to Gibbs and Murphy. And Arnfield, who kept coming, now Warnock, and this could be trouble for Carlton. Back to Arnfield, Gibbs getting themselves into bother though. Jamison from the middle, enough nonsense. Long ball for Houlihan with the set. Should have taken it, still a chance. Ignored Betts, doesn't ignore Yaron. Open goal, he's got his 3rd.
Almost an anticlimax. It appeared to be going forward nicely for the Crows. Burton slipped over or was pushed over. From that moment on, Carlton looked in reasonable control, not perfect control, but Yaron got a gift on the goal line, and they're nice ones. When you've got 2 to start with and you get a 3rd like that, you know it's your day.
Houlihan it was getting it over to Yaron, his 3rd for the afternoon. A Rising Star nomination in round 1. Many believe, Malcolm, that Nick Natanui's already got it wrapped up. Hasn't been nominated yet.
I think he might be after last night.
Warnock, Murphy, Judd.
See, Judd's kicked at Kelly.
Boot to ball, and it was a high one as well. Oh, helping!
See, luck happens.
It landed in his lap. A little bit of Irish
Kelly,
luck.
There's a kick out of the centre square. Quickly, and the forwards are 1-on-1. Good heavens, and we've taken a mark. Wow.
Well, it was
Adelaide Football Club, are you listening?
unorthodox by Satanta O'Halpin, but it was effective.
Yes.
I don't think he could barely believe his luck. He says he hasn't seen a kick out of the centre square all afternoon. And when they do kick it, it lands in his lap. So Satanta O'Halpin really filling the void of a controversial exiter for bowler. 9 goals, 5 this season. Funnily enough, the same as the man he replaced, to extend the lead. And that just about splits the middle.
Oh. And you know the thing I liked about that is he actually took his time, went back and had a decent run up and got a bit of momentum with his kicking. He's not the best kick in the comp, but he actually had a nice run in that was quicker than just a waddle. And I've got to stop blokes waddling. Ah, beautiful. Well, Satanta, have a look at this. He's got some momentum up. He's not a waddler. I am going to ban all waddlers. Look at that. Bit of momentum. He's not the best kick, but gee, did it well.
Interesting thing about the Irish players, Jim Steins was a bit like that. Not technically great, but found a way. Here's Judd for the Blues, having big victories in midfield at the start of this quarter. Henderson to Houlihan, who could cut the distance, could have a go if he chose, and that might have been the better option. He'll get a second chance. Back to Henderson. They've made a mess of this, but they have an opportunity now at the stoppage.
Tim, get the feeling maybe someone from Carlton's had a word to the Irishman about his goal celebrations. He looked like he won the premiership a few weeks ago when he kicked the opener up in Brisbane.
He's getting used to it, Kel. He's kicked 10 for the year.
Very, very calm indeed. They're not getting carried away with themselves. And Chris Judd, the skipper, in and under. Malcolm is hurting the Crows in the midfield, start of the second.
Yes, and he kicked it forward again. Handball's a wonderful weapon. If the guy's on the move and too many handball flat-footed, and you want to make a labour the point, but quick kick forward is a real good go.
Riley still running with Judd. Can they clear it out of the defence, the Crows? They need some cool heads. Douglas, there's one. McLeod tucked up in the pocket, forced to handball. Dowdy, oh, and then Douglas is brought down. Yaron, the free goes against him.
It was almost like the Dangerfield tackle last week, Tim, and that's about the same, wasn't it?
Yeah, fortunately for Douglas, there was only one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, this is dangerous. Simpson came in for the spoil, but the kick just found an extra metre or two. John Cock just bangs away for Adelaide, and the one-on-one is won by Carazzo. Lucas searching for Warnock, but it's chopped off by Big Ivan, who gets rid of Warnock, but not for long. Warnock, battle of the Titans this, as they go to ground wrestling and heaving. And there'll be a ball up.
You just dragged it back in, mate. Let it go.
No, there'll be a free kick to Warnock, who wins the exchange by dint of perseverance. And he gives to Lucas. And now it's Houlihan, who's doing pretty well for the Blues, covering some territory. Slices his pass into Yaron, who has 3 goals already, which equals his PB achieved in round 1 against Richmond. So he could be in for a big day and a big personal best. Carlton getting the lead out to 25 points, which is as big as it's been so far. How's Chris Yaron's long set shooting? Distance is there, but he's always narrow. Carlton by 26.
I still did like his style, Tim. He gathered momentum as he kicked the footy, and that's why it's gone a reasonable way. I mean, it wasn't a goal, but it was a nice looking style. So he's not a waddler. That's good. Carlton have done a bit of work on their goal kicking, I'd suggest.
Don't waddle if you want to break your duck.
No.
Good one. Short on the kick in. Riley got the tough task on Judd. Loose man. Wide. Burton.
And it's almost like those that swan around, Tim.
Kicks to the wing. Out in front. Dangerfield. Wheels around. Wants to give it off. Centering kick. It's just going to pop up. Allows Judd to enter the contest. 50-50 ball. Douglas does well. Good second effort. Played for the free. Cook. Quick handball. McKay to John Cock. Back in for his first game. Was going to go by foot. Then by hand. Gives it off by foot. Marriage to Knights. Just slams it onto the left. How will it bounce? No one's home. Thompson's there. Drops the mark. And it's all Carlton. They can mop up here defensively.
Actually, it looked about a regulation chess mark for Thompson right in front. This is Garlett for the Blues. Now the umpire holding things up or calling advantage, or there's a 50.
Tim, I thought he called touch the umpire when Thompson went for it.
Still should have snared it cleanly, you'd have thought. So White takes it for the Blues, kicks to Murphy, and they're finding a way in at the moment. Carlton, Judd. Their quarter-time strategy seemed to be working well. Andrew Walker, Houlihan from behind the spoil. Adelaide covered at the fall, and their skipper Goodwin is dragged high by the Irishman. Away comes Rutten. Now Cook doesn't know where to go. Robinson has him corralled. Henderson there too. Taylor Walker. Untidy kick up the wing, and it wobbles over the line, so a throw in.
Just looking at the stats, Gibbs, Murphy, Judd, all 10 apiece for Carlton. That midfield's working.
Free kick, in fact.
Yeah, and it was against Walker. It goes to Lucas. Backwards to Gibbs. So another touchy Malcolm for Bryce Gibbs. This his 11th. Short, Walker.
Walker's also had 11 too, so he's been busy at the back.
Forced to play down back this afternoon. Of course, Thornton and Waite were dumped at selection. Brett Ratton making a statement. They share it around. Jamison on the lead. First gamer, White. Wearing Anthony Kutafidi's old number. That missed the target. O'Halpin and Scotland were there. Just a little wayward.
And David Mackay, speaking of Swans, as Malcolm was a moment ago.
Yes.
There you go.
It's a famous number at Carlton. Cook climbing into the ruck. Judd has been inspirational for the Blues. He makes sure Adelaide won't extract here without a massive fight. It won't be done quickly. But eventually Adelaide do prevail, and Schmidt comes away with it. Mackay, and he did well. He drew the tacklers before giving to Portpleasure, who finds Maric on the lead. Now Petrenko, but can't see anything. He likes inside, and he turns straight into trouble. Well, Carlton's ball. Robinson is Carlton's best tackler statistically this year.
That's not Petrenko's fault. There was no one, Tim, but two Carlton players sitting back there. He just couldn't kick it.
Carlton's confidence high at the moment. Gibbs to Houlihan, awkward half volley. Lucas, Murphy, little fumble, and that was costly. Davis got him. Houlihan got him. Worked out to Mackay. Looping hand pass to Doughty. Burton down the back. Adelaide under pressure in the back half now. Oh, Henderson's hand pass poor. Vince, here's no better. Henderson's got it back. Ball up.
Sure, there was a lot of fumbles in there. There's only one reason why you fumbled. You actually take your eye off the ball, because everyone can grab it from a handball. So bit in tight there, and a couple of eyes just darting around the place.
Crows goalless in this second quarter. They have been swamped at the contest. Cook has to go again to get it. John Cock comes out the side.
Oh, look at the mess of players.
Again.
Gilly, count them.
Big ball to be won here. No one can pick it up. The umpire's happy to let it play on. Scotland, oldest player on Carlton's list, over to Arnfield, who just pokes it up in front of Betts, and beautifully timed. And Betts just floats in and takes an easy mark. And he'll go back and have a set shot. Will he? Maybe he won't. And a chance for his second. So
you wouldn't think that would come out of there, Kel, would you?
a murder of Crows around that contest, Malcolm, and it's a couple of Blues that extract it.
Is it a bludgeon of Blues?
Something along those lines. We'll go with that.
Spectrum of Blues.
What about a colour of Blues?
Eddie Betts. He makes the difficult look easy. How does he make the easy look?
No.
Difficult.
I think most Carlton supporters, Tim, I think you'd be aware of this, that Eddie is better on the run.
No doubt about it. He had Simpson in the square calling for it, but turned his back as he went back after taking that mark. He'll rue that. Adelaide come away with it. Tyson Edwards waddles away with the ball. The kick waited for John Cock, but Robinson was able to get there first. So a throw in. Carlton's quarter so far, but they did dominate the first half of the opening term, and it was Adelaide working its way back later on. Warnock against Tippett. Tippett a win, down to Vince, to Cook, to Edwards, to Mackay. And Adelaide are away. The pass not great. Lucas got a hand in. Gives to Walker, to Scotland. And the Blues playing quite cohesively at the moment. Now it's Murphy.
Just no confidence in their movement forward, the Adelaide Crows. As Judd strolls in for his 11th touch. Looks like he hasn't missed a beat. Suspended for the first 3 rounds.
Oh, they could switch here.
And they will do through Walker and Russell. Well, he could have gone. He might have heard Malcolm and thought, no, I'll take you on. Straight through the centre corridor. And then just really forced to kick a little straight. And there is Houlihan. Sweeps the handball inside 50. Foot races on. Simpson will get there first. Has the space and time to line up the sticks. And he slots it through.
Well called, Kelly. So you're quite right. They did have some options out wide. The Crows star players started moving over there, and then Russell's just taken them on. Fantastic play. That really opened it up forward, and eventually Simpson on his left foot. Easy finish for him on that side.
Cade Simpson does know how to kick a goal, as he showed there. Simpson the goal, Houlihan the assist. Cade Simpson very reliable with that left boot. Ryan Houlihan, a serious contributor for Carlton today. The lead is 33. Carlton right on top. Time to dig in Adelaide. Vince to Edwards. Walker, McKay, bad bounce. And the Blues could be away again. Scotland to Russell. Probing ball into half forward, just too far for Simpson. The bounce beat everyone. At the back, Doughty for Adelaide. Pumping it on. Vince. Good option from Doughty, opening it up. Vince to McLeod. Very good first quarter, not so prominent thus far in the second. Wide to Knights. Vince inside, the ball hangs. Andrew Walker the spoil. Carlton with all the crummers. Joseph Simpson. Gibbs. And plenty of help around him. He goes for Henderson. Couldn't hang on. He's got to win it at ground level with only Marriage to beat, lumbering after him. Yaron, Henderson, and it works out well for Carlton. He really needed to kick. He delays, and now there'll be a throw in.
Well, once again, Tim, there was Porplesia and Doughty sitting back in the hole, so he actually couldn't kick. There's that big, I almost expected Walker to take a big up and over then, a big grab, but he went the punch. Did the very disciplined thing.
Marriage wins it easily, palms it down to Simpson though, who's caught.
Watch those arms coming up.
Where's it breaking down for the Crows, Malcolm? Is it just the problem at the half-forward line, or...?
I think they've had 37 handballs to 15 kicks. 15 kicks in 15 minutes, Kel. That's not a lot, is it?
Vince, Edwards, Marriage again, Knights, Burton. Fakes one way, forced to double back, and then he just handballs it to Judd. So another turnover here. Carazzo, high ball, Goodwin, juggled it. Was it paid? No, over the boundary line.
I think if you added up 37 handballs and 15 kicks, if it was the other way around, the distance they're covering is not far, and they're kicking into their forward line when they find a kick hasn't been great. So the last kick's been letting them down.
Mark wasn't paid to Goodwin. Warnock loses his footing. As a result, Crows win the clearance. Thompson, Walker. Handballs over the top to a teammate in trouble. That was Burton. Walker goes again. There's Blues players everywhere here. White, Simpson. Corralling him is Schmidt. Just pokes it to centre half forward, charging out. Crushing the pack was Houlihan. At the fall of the ball is Goodwin. Played for in the back, didn't get it. Thompson. Crows players should win out. Edwards tries the fend off, they don't argue, doesn't pull it off. Desperate stuff, in and under, Edwards again. Carazzo, they fight, they scrap, they wrestle, and the result, ball up right on the boundary line.
Hard way to play footy this, when, you know, if you're going to handle in those tight situations, the blokes down and flat-footed, everyone's using a lot of energy. The players are going to get pretty tired doing this. I can imagine halfway through that third quarter, there's going to be some blokes tonguing it, as I call it.
Well, the worry for Adelaide is they're losing the midfield press at the moment, which is normally their area of greater strength. Judd for Carlton, Robinson a tear-through man, Carazzo just couldn't get out. Scotland does. He's a good kick of the ball, and the Blues have their 9th. They lead by 39.
Wow. It's a good finish, though. Composure, older player, more experienced. Didn't panic, knew he had his 2 or 3 metres. Kept his momentum up, had a quick look and kicked it straight under the goal umpire's hat.
And he was tonguing it too after that.
Yep.
Carlton just kicked their 9th goal, and I can tell you down on the boundary, boys, it's notable. When the play's right by the boundary line here, you can hear the Carlton players. A lot more voice than the Blues boys. The Crows boys are dead silent.
Blues kicked the first 4 in the first quarter, the first 4 in the second quarter. The trend continues. Crows need a lift. Walker, nowhere to go. Handballs to Vince. Uncharacteristic fumble, and once again they've coughed it up. It's been picked up by the Blues. They're searching for their 10th goal. Simpson dealt with harshly. Umpire says play on. Walker caught by Doughty, rides him into the ground, and that's holding the ball.
Actually, that's unfair because he handballed that. We had a good look. The goal, that umpire has guessed on this side because he actually handballed with his left hand.
Got caught on the wrong side.
Aaron, I'll call you back.
And
50.
the call goes, yes, against Aaron Joseph for creeping Omar. So this will drag Scott Thompson right down to 50.
Aaron, I blew the whistle, called you back, and you didn't move. Aaron,
Still searching for their first goal of the second quarter.
Now, or it's another 50.
Will it come off the boot of Scott Thompson? The distance will really test him here. He knows it. He pokes it over the top. And he's gone for a double 50.
That is absolute rubbish.
So the umpire was in constant conversation with Aaron Joseph.
That is.
And he's pinged him a double 50. And finally, the Crows can break the drought. But it's as a result of the umpire helping them out, Malcolm.
Why don't you shut up, umpire, and just let him play. That annoys me. That is, I hate bagging umpires, but that is just over-umpired by just absolute garbage.
And the crowd's getting involved as well. It was elementary for Scott Thompson, a desperately needed goal for the Adelaide Footy Club.
And you know what? Already he'd make the wrong decision by pinging Walker for holding the ball, right? The Joseph one, line ball.
Pretty tough, wasn't it?
Yeah, line ball. But I heard every word he said then. And when he said, look, he hasn't moved. What is he doing? What's going on?
It looked tough, 100 metres. And Adelaide get their first goal of the quarter. That actually came earlier than their first goal of the opening quarter. So on that basis, all is not lost. However, there's a lot of climbing back to do. The margin is 33 points.
Tim, I think he's made 3 mistakes, that umpire. He over-umpired 3 times. And I reckon once, twice, 3 times you're out. It's pretty hard, but stiff.
We'll watch this space. There'll be another ball up just outside the circle. Now, Walker has been pinged for being inside the 5-metre zone. That one's on. There's no doubt about that, I think, looking at that. Anyway, on we go. And
I disagree with that,
they
Tim.
almost
we'll
go
get back
on.
to that, but only because he was there already. Why didn't he ping him in the first place?
He's not meant to be there, though.
Oh.
Here's Douglas. Adelaide attacking 2-on-2 in the 50. Russell in from the side. Armfield to collect. White back to Armfield. Poor kick, but it stays in. It rolled along the line, and for a moment, Doughty thought there might be an opportunity. There'll be a throw in on the wing.
Anyhow, finish that off. You shouldn't bag umpires, but Stuart Wen, very disappointing for a couple of minutes for him.
Controversial pause in play. Will it work in the Crows' favour? Poor pleasure. Judd. Scotland. Last goal kicker for the Blues. Through traffic. Made it look easy. Off to Betts. Now Cruiser. Like an extra midfielder, that ruckman is. But this time, kicks it straight down the throat of John Cock. Short. Rutten. Oh, and this is dangerous stuff by Rutten. He popped the kick up, allowed Robinson into the contest, and there's a safety of the boundary line. Just over 5 minutes remaining. It is the Blues by 33 points. The Crows in all sorts of bother.
Yeah, they're not out of it though, Kel, are they? They're not out of it yet. I mean, just that was a handy goal, and it came from luck.
Marriage the tap, bets the footy, under pressure. Dangerfield trying to barge through, head down, ball up. The only outcome there. Carlton by 33, and these are important minutes before half-time. Adelaide really needing to cut into it to go to the rooms with their morale up. Marriage getting rid of Cruiser there. Cruiser back on his feet. Robinson ever hard at it, but it's Adelaide's ball, and Knight bangs it up the ground. Too far for Tippett, who has 2 to beat. Burton arrives, but clumsily. Russell been good back there to Murphy for the Blues. Right in the heart of the ground. Andrew Walker having a pretty good day down the back and delivers to Garlett. 75 out. Carlton moving it quickly at all times. Scotland from a long way. He is a good kick. Won't quite make it. It hit the behind post, so there'll be a throw in. Scotland kicked one earlier in the quarter from just 5 metres closer. Just couldn't quite get into the spot there.
Carlton still threatening. Judd, dangerous, makes it look easy, wheels around, across the body, misses everything. Just a burst of acceleration from the captain.
He's also had the most touches on the ground, 15. Kelly now, so he's just to say, he hasn't missed a beat, really, has he?
A comeback and a half of footy for Chris Judd. This is Marich and Cruiser. Cruiser front position. Judd almost behind his back. He can do everything. And we'll have a bounce. Time ticking down. Riley still running with Judd. Trying to reinvent his role, Brent Riley, over summer. He's looking to...
There's a blood rule call here.
Blood rules call. Judd bending over, Malcolm. He looks a little tired. He's given it everything. He's pushed his body to the limit in this first half.
He's only probably got 4 or 5 minutes to go for this. And this is a nice minute and a half break for him while we wait for a player to come back on.
You see, Robert Shirley always got the job on Judd in previous seasons and did really well. Obviously delisted over summer, and I doubt he might have got the job on him last year in one of the games. Crows winning both their encounters over the Blues relatively easily. Back underway. And over the top, Cruiser. Robinson, Betts is lurking. Quick handball comes out. Dangerfield needs to get it off. Falls to the ground. Spills out. Robinson on all fours. Diving in. Desperate stuff. And we'll go again.
Gee, there's been a lot of packs, hasn't there? It's been actually a tight game. As I said, halfway through that third quarter, I think we might see the game open up. Just got that traditional look about it when guys just start to really hunger for deep breaths.
Mitch Robinson working very hard for Carlton. He's been a good contributor. Cruiser with Marich. Carlton with 2 big men to throw at the Adelaide man, although he has Tippett in reserve. John Cock long. Burton. Dummy. Russell after him. Burton felt it coming and then felt the high contact, and the umpire saw it. Now McLeod. Adelaide with an open 50 here. Taylor Walker, Andrew Walker. Their feet tangle. And both Walkers finished up on the ground. There'll be a throw in. Scoring range for the Crows.
There's Dangerfield getting tackled and looked fine. Didn't sort of bother him at all.
Crows searching for their second goal of the quarter. Players coming from everywhere. In and under. Tippett, the big man, trying to inject himself into the contest. Malcolm, you mentioned pre-match that it was a big test for Kurt Tippett. He really needed to stand up.
He's had 1 touch.
More blood.
More blood, yeah. 1 touch, Tippett. That's either the forward line as a ruckman. You've just got to, he's a really poor start to the year. That's all you can say.
Inaccuracy and inconsistency really costing Kurt Tippett. It was the big story over summer, of course. Gold Coast trying to snare him. But he re-signed for a couple of years. Malcolm?
I missed that.
You haven't seen that contract either?
Oh, no. I must have missed that. I was elsewhere.
Underway.
That's not a lie, by the way. That
Just
was a joke.
under 3 minutes. Tippett. Long
like
cue.
I don't like
help
people
it. Getting it through. Now the long kick, centre corridor. Crows are there. Which way will it bounce? Sits up, allows Henderson into the contest. Dangerfield. Schmidt. Rutten spins around. Has a bounce, the big man. Filling in, of course. Bott is out, and now Rutten just tries to do too much, and he's been caught. And the Blues continue. Advantages played. Simpson over the top to Garland, who was an inclusion on Thursday night. Turns around, spins, and it's through. Well, that's soul-destroying for the Adelaide Crows.
Oh, and might they be happy, the Carlton supporters? Once again, the indecision handball. Will I or won't I? There were two players clear of him for a kick, and I guess you can always see it from higher up above. But the most impressive thing about that was the finish. He didn't panic. He only had one chance and about a half a second to do it, and he's gone and done it very well. It's a really nice finish, that.
Brett Ratten's doing a very clever rotation. Got O'Halpin on Rutten at the minute, but what he is doing with a small forward line, he's forcing Rutten up the ground to centre half back, and Ben looks a little bit uncomfortable there.
And Eddie Betts got him that time and brought him to ground. One cut and the free kick, and it went from there. So it's the Blues by 39 points in the last 3 minutes of the half. Dangerfield spreads it for Doughty. Adelaide really could do with a couple of goals in this period. Now McLeod, and he kicks it in the Burton direction. Couldn't quite get the hands onto it. Carlton with numbers around the footy. Hard for Adelaide to get it out. Ball up.
You grabbed that at the same time, Chris.
Petrenko taking a long time to pick himself up for the Crows. I think he might have had the wind taken out of his lungs in a collision there. Umpire Mollison bounces it. Warnock with Cruiser off the ground, and Warnock finds himself with the footy a second time. Andrew Walker brought down. So within a kick of goal for the Crows in the last 2.5 minutes. 39 points to pull back. They've faced a tall order here.
Over the top, Burton. Edwards. Big ball to be won. And it's a rugby-like scrum, in and under, lurching from stoppage to stoppage as we count down to half-time. Judd, 15 disposals. McLeod, 16. This is Walker. Blues with numbers. Can they clear it? Over to the first gamer, White.
He did that well, didn't he?
Gibbs. Now Walker again. Been impressive down back. Betts takes the mark.
It's almost since Thornton and Wade out, it's become responsible, Walker, hasn't he? He's just said, I want the footy all the time.
Played at centre half back last week when they played against Essendon and did really well there.
They've gone the overhead play early in the last 2 minutes.
They have. Cole's gone out. Jamison, last line of defence. Just short. Walker again. Plenty of the ball. Hugs the boundary line. Kick to a 2-on-1. Murphy outnumbered. And Lucas sees it over.
I think we should have a competition, Tim. The club that comes up with a signal that's not holding the ball in the air to slow the game down.
What can you do with it?
I think... Well,
put it between your legs or something?
Yeah, no. Pull up your right sock or your left sock.
Tip it to Vince.
Pull out your hanky and blow your nose.
Just
I don't know.
Hacks it in the air. Big fly. 2-on-2. Portlesia hasn't seen much of the action today. They need a lift from their forwards in the second half, Malcolm. Portlesia and Tippett.
Yeah, they're not getting a lot of good ball because it's been overused, I think, in the midfield.
Spins back into play. Burton forced in the ruck contest to Knights. Here's a chance. Over to Dangerfield. Off a step. Just whacks it on the boot. And misses to the right. It's been the story of this first half for the Crows. Inaccuracy costly.
2 goals in the first quarter, just 1 in the second, and that came after a double 50-metre penalty. So Carlton brought it upon themselves to a significant extent. Blues being careful here, but that's a nice kick from Jamison to Betts. And it's very much ball overhead time now to Murphy. It's a little dangerous. He just couldn't quite cling on. Crows a chance. And they'll get a free kick. Dangerfield, I think, will receive it. They run on now, and Tippett puts it in a good spot. Half volley for Burton. The swinging left footer is hammered through by Henderson. So it's a behind, and the margin stays beyond the 6-goal mark in the last half minute. Stand on your toes and hold the ball overhead now at full arm's length.
Gibbs needed to find a target and did. This is Henderson. Handful of games for the Brisbane Lions in his 2 years on the list. Goes up the line, looking for O'Halpin. Judd's in there, no surprises. Shovels out the handball. Comes to Riley though. Free kick, it's been paid. Well, Douglas wanted to go on with it. And there won't be time here for the Crows.
There won't be time for Carlton either, because there is the siren. Second half begins. Stewart Wen bounces the ball. It's Warnock against Marich. And it's Judd yet again winning the clearance for the Blues and putting them into the 50. It falls for McLeod. To Davis in his first game. That's his 6th use of the ball. 5 of them have been hand passes. Riley forced just to hold and buy time, which lets O'Halpin in. Did well off his knees. To Houlihan, who always thinks before using it. He gives to Betts, to Garlett, and the open goal stares him in the face. That was ridiculously easy.
Neil Craig looking on there is a bit nonplussed. And so he ought to be. I mean, it's a harrowing time when you're a coach and you realise the wheels have fallen off, and all his power at the moment, he really is not going to stop this now, I don't think.
Well, the crowd here at AAMI Stadium and the Crows absolutely shell-shocked. It was the last thing Neil Craig needed. The Blues with the first goal to start this third term. Now here they are. Edwards, John Cock. By hand, over to Davis. Needs to find a target. Can't quite find Knights. Well done by Gibbs. Great defensive tactics over the line, so a throw in. Where can they turn it around?
Yeah, it comes with belief. And right now, looking at some body language out there, a few of these lads in the Crows, I think, have lost belief.
Marich only as far as Scotland, who's wrapped up. So we'll have a bounce. 70 plays 27. These two sides met twice last year. And it was 72 and 44 the margin. It was in the Crows' favour both times. Riley, Judd just steals it. Simpson, Scotland. Now the first game of White. Coming through Joseph, picked up by Russell, tried to take Riley on. Riley tackles. Knights. And he kicks, looking out in front for Dangerfield, slipped through his hands. Walker with a dash. Drives it out of defence to White.
Thanks, Chris. Play on yours.
Dominating the possession of the ball at the moment, Carlton. Back to Russell. And now Jamison. The switch is on. Loose players everywhere. Carazzo can give it over the top. Goes down the line, out in front, Cruiser. A little battered off with the blood rule in that first half. He just pops it over, looking for Garlett. Too easy over John Cock.
Thanks, Graham.
And Garlett already with a couple of goals this afternoon. A good smother off the boot by John Cock. Spinning out of trouble is Edwards. Now, can they mount a challenge? Vince is off. Goes by hand. McKay back to Vince. He's going to be brought down. They've got absolutely nowhere to go. The Crows in disarray. And Judd wins the free kick.
Well, Carlton are a good yardstick for us to assess Adelaide at this point of their history, because they have had the wood on them in such an overwhelming way, and yet that's a poor kick from Judd, just went too wide for O'Halpin. And yet we're seeing Adelaide today as we've never seen them under Neil Craig. They are totally directionless. It looks, Malcolm, as though, as you said, they have completely lost their belief.
Yeah, and so many Crows players have looked up and there's no one forward, which means they're losing the ball in the midfield. And it's frustrating when you look up and you've got no one to kick it to and you've got to hang on to it. That dwelt factor makes you get caught and indecisive. I think you've got to retain some sort of forward line, Adelaide, if they're going to get back into any sort of form, as we find the umpire miss a very high tackle there.
Yeah, they talked up over summer that this is the most talented forward line in the Crows' short history.
Yeah, you don't ever do that as a coach. Craigie's not normally that silly.
Well, they've only kicked 12 goals or more once this season. That was in a pre-season game against Carlton.
No, it's...
Game's not over from Brett Ratton's point of view. Carlton have got to finish the job. They have an overwhelming lead. O'Halpin, clean tap to Carazzo and Simpson. White.
Tucked into him. Tuck it out.
And he might be in trouble here. He's pinged for holding it. It's Adelaide's ball. He slid in and the tackler's got hold of him. Knights for Adelaide. Cruiser applying some pressure. Gives to Davis. Just his second kick. Goes for John Cock.
Thanks, Jeff. Right there.
Adelaide looking to build an attack here. 43 points down. That's a wayward or an indirect kick from Vince to Edwards. Down the corridor now for Knights. Carlton's defensive play has grown in confidence as it's worn on, and Knights just bombs it in, hoping for Tippett. Petrenko tied up by Gibbs, and there'll be a ball up.
Very pedestrian, isn't it, going forward when they try and get forward, and they tend to go a lot wider than they used to. I thought many times last year when they were in better form they would cut through the middle. They've tried it a bit today, but there's been no one forward to kick it to.
It's been painstaking to watch. Tippett out of mid-air, bouncing ball. They need a little bit of magic. Burton fighting, wrestling with White. And it's off hands and through for a behind. Kurt Tippett with just the 2 touches in the first half. Russell, short.
Stay out, Kurt.
Armfield.
That's it, play on.
You know what I'd do here now? I mean, looking to change this around, I'd actually just go man on man. I mean, I know it sounds like you're turning back the clock a bit, but sometimes when it's not running for you, to try and make it run for you, even from the kick out, even if you get beat, I mean, you're going to get beat a different way. Right now, there's no way knowing this game's going to turn around unless Neil Craig does something about it.
Well, they're zoning here. Getting back, plugging the holes. White, short to Simpson.
They can go back to the square now if they really want to.
And the game's suddenly very stagnant.
Thanks, Kate. Moving on. Play on. Play on.
Simpson urged to give it off. No other option to go long up the line. Cruiser had the sit and the climb, couldn't bring it down. Betts at ground level, off to the run of Judd. Can he find a target? Gartlett releases him, and he could run into an open goal here. Has a bounce, needs to beat a couple. Which way will it bounce? Oh, tried a little bit of magic, didn't quite pull it off.
Throws the quick kick in. Edwards to Vince. And they need some quick movement because the normal way hasn't worked. Now Petrenko. Carlton getting back in numbers as quickly as they can. Petrenko back to Vince. Oh, and he's missed the target. Henderson missed the mark, though. And Adelaide given a second chance. John Cock to Big Rutten, pumping it in the Burton direction, and he's got this. He gave his opponent the slip, and Burton can line them up from inside 30.
It really came from a point that maybe should have been a goal if Gartlett looked inside. He would have seen a teammate, and everyone was out of position, and eventually a forward line was open with a target.
Crows without a multiple goal kicker so far, but Brett Burton should change that here. He doesn't. It's another miss, and heads drop a little lower. Crows can't hit the target. 3 goals from 14. Here go the Blues. Walker, Murphy, Scotland, and by bringing it in quickly, they've found openings that aren't there if you give the Crows time. Now Robinson. And he had to get the weight on that just right, but he did for Simpson. Carlton all up to about the 50, and they'll double back if need be. Simpson placing it to nobody. That was a poor kick. He got that wrong and gives it to Riley. So the margin 41. It's been an awful quarter of football. Carlton kicked a goal in the first minute, and there hasn't been one kicked since then. And to say that there hasn't been a goal kicked in those 13 or 14 minutes is probably to praise the football, because it's been worse than that. There'll be a throw in now, Carlton's side of the wing.
The difference is, Tim, it is the best seeing day you possibly can have. It is a beautiful temperature outside. There is absolutely no wind for the first time ever at AAMI Stadium. And, yeah, we've had one goal. It's hard to believe.
Judd, but Adelaide come away with it. Vince to Knights to Cook. And the Crows will have another go, and Cook backs himself here. And it's a good kick, but Carlton have the numbers, 2-on-1, and Jamison took the mark. White was there, and he had a body block on Burton, which was not judged illegal. Short to Walker, back to Jamison. Stabbing delivery, and Judd's got it. And when he's got it, I think as Brett Ratton once said, you sit back and you feel fairly relaxed in the coach's box.
Most experienced player in the Carlton squad, no doubt about that. Scotland's the oldest. No veterans on the list this year, no player 30 or over. And I guess, Malcolm, the complete contrast, their opposition today, the Crows have 5 over 30.
Yeah, Goodwin's hadn't had a great day. Tyson Edwards has been okay. Andrew McLeod has been as good as anyone in their team, really. So it's just that second-tier group that the Crows really need to get to lift. The Dangerfields and Tippett's, those sort of guys. Just got to contribute a bit more than what they are at the moment. Mackay, Marriage, Paul Pleasher's had a quiet one. Finch has been okay. Douglas. They're the guys.
No 200 gamers for Carlton either, so Crows on the other hand have got the 3. Carazzo to Simpson, playing his 101st consecutive game this afternoon. Murphy. Well, they're just toying with the Crows.
Yeah, it's painful to watch, actually, some of this.
Houlihan up the line. Henderson just went at it one-handed, and it paid off well, and he plays on and he sends it inside 50. The Irishman comes out hard. It was an awkward half volley. Henderson, well, he went down. He was collected high. Judd comes through. Over the top to Goodwin, though, from one skipper to the other. And now the Crows are away. Mackay is brought down. In fact, it was Vince. Goodwin again. Rutten over the top. They've got the numbers. Can they manufacture something? Petrenko to the run of McLeod. He needs to find a target, and a diving, desperate Douglas holds it to his chest. And it was McLeod that provided the spark through the centre of the ground. Here's Henderson, eyes on the footy, pays the price. That's a heavy knock.
McLeod's had 9 kicks, and they've all found a teammate. I mean, he's been the exception today. He's actually found something. 100% effectiveness of 16 touches, so that's by the hand or foot. He hasn't had a lot of mates today, though.
Turns 34 in August as Andrew McLeod. Just continues to get better. This is Richard Douglas, looking to break the drought for the Crows, to add to the frustration.
And look, they haven't kicked well. I've got them down for 4 rush behinds out of their 13. But if you use goal kicking as your excuse in this one, it's a pretty poor way to go. This is really about some players. Simply, they've got too many players out of form.
You look at how they can be the same team that in round 22 last year booted 27 goals when they beat the Blues, won by 72.
Thanks, Jason.
It's a pretty good point of comparison. It's almost just as well that goal wasn't kicked. It would have blotted the copybook, as it were, on a absolutely ordinary quarter of football. Here's Henderson. Carlton with a chance here. They had men at the drop, but it fell the wrong side. Riley, John Cock, got it onto his boot quickly, but under pressure, straight to Judd. And Carlton will have another go. Russell, out of defence, Lucas. Armfield there with the Shepherd, Betts. Schmidt made the spoil. Mackay mopping up for Adelaide. Here comes Judd, but not quite arriving in time. Knights paid the free kick. Still just the one goal kicked for the quarter, and that came in the opening seconds. It has been, as ordinary quarters go, 5-star, this one. Here goes Schmidt for the Crows. For Thompson. Now, he is within range, but the angle is not a comfortable one out there. What's that pocket like, Malcolm? It's not the Bermuda Triangle.
No, it's actually, as the Crows players finish training, they go out through that race just behind there. So this is where most of the goal kicking's done from. Last thing after training. So the answer is a very, very friendly pocket.
They need it as friendly as it can be, because they've only hit the target 3 times today. Scott Thompson, always near side, is lucky to score a behind. It's 3 goals, 14. The margin Carlton's way is 39 points.
Judd a little bit high on Knights. Last time the Crows went 0-4, which is what they're on the verge of achieving, was in 2004 when Gary Ayres was coach. It was the year that he lost his job. Over the top, Edwards. Now this is a completely different pocket. A tougher assignment than what Scott Thompson faced a few moments ago.
Well, this is the pocket. The last time someone kicked it here, the second last time, was the old ships, the warships, timber boats used to float down the Gulf in Adelaide.
Tony Hawk booted a few from this pocket.
One I remember. That's what I'm saying. And someone did it a couple of years ago, Tim. But the ships were floating down.
Yeah, Halley's Comet was overhead.
Yeah, all that. The moon was blue.
Well, perhaps this could be the moment. Tyson Edwards. It's not to be.
No, I'd win a lot of money on that.
Off the side of the boot. Misses to the near side, and the look says it all. He's an angry man.
So 6 points for the Crows this quarter. The last 2 have been very tight. A couple have been rushed, so it hasn't been anything to write home about, really.
And Burton's failed to make the distance on a couple of occasions.
Yep.
2-on-1 for the Blues here, and White's able to take the mark. Give to Walker.
His run's been important, isn't it?
As for Robinson, but Adelaide have it covered at the fall. Riley, Doughty. Here comes Garlett. Got him high. Adelaide's ball. Just under 3 minutes left. A couple of goals, and Adelaide could go to 3/4 time with some hope and some heart. Tip it to Vince. They're spending a lot of time attacking in this quarter, but for no result. Petrenko. Carlton with the 50, pretty well blocked. Petrenko bombs it as high as he possibly can. You couldn't kick a ball much higher than that. Blues wanting to keep it near the line. Gibbs is over it. Can't just hold it in. There'll be a ball up. Crows have kicked 6 behinds for the quarter, so in a sense they have kicked 1 goal. The Blues have kicked 1 goal, 1. 1-1 to 6 behinds, Kel. It's been an epic.
It certainly has, Tim. One to remember as they muck around with it in the pocket for the Crows, and Walker can clear. Scotland, Gibbs team up again. Scotland, big tackle applied by Vince. Crows can't get their hands on the ball. Cruiser, a chain of hand passes. Yarran hemmed in against the boundary line, sweeping handball, looking for Lucas. Did it beautifully over to Cruiser. They've got loose players everywhere. Robinson onto the boot, out in front, Garlett. Gives it over to Simpson, and the Blues can continue to punish the Adelaide Crows.
Well, it seemed that was down the Adelaide end for, seemed like half an hour, but it obviously wasn't. And finally, they worked it pretty well around the boundary. I mean, it was a bit of flippy and floppy, but they actually got it in the end, and eventually it just fell for them. And wow, that is a sad scoreboard. Yes, a few of the Adelaide supporters waving goodbye to the season, I think.
The roving television camera is about the most exciting thing they've seen in the last half hour. They've gone goalless. Carlton have kicked 2-1, and the first goal came 35 seconds in. That one came very close to the end of the term. Robinson, good contest there. Murphy just working it forward, and Carlton with the chance to score another one late in the piece with the throw-in coming up. Hasn't stopped trying, Mitch Robinson. A real competitor in every sense of the word. Not the most talented, but he gives Carlton value. Cruiser dangerous here at the stoppage. Simpson, Cruiser. Just couldn't get the arms free for the hand pass. Rutten to Doughty, to Vince. Crows work it around. Riley placing it for Davis, and Adelaide get away. Davis a long ball, 2-on-2 here, and there'll be a throw in on the wing. The last time Carlton beat Adelaide 8 contests ago, from memory, came with a Brendan Favola goal after the final siren, or on the final siren. It doesn't look as though this victory is going to come quite that late. They look as though they have it covered.
They certainly do. 44 points the margin. And now McKay strides out along the wing. Can run all the way here. Closes to 48. Centering kick unselfishly. Walker camped underneath it. Strong hands. Marks in front of White. Finally, something to cheer about for the Crows fans in the crowd. Taylor Walker, quiet day. He's not the only one.
Oh, you wouldn't like to be playing the forward line for Adelaide today. Gee, it's hard work.
23 goals from his 14 games last year. He's voted 4-3 heading in this afternoon. So
he's on the Michael Holding run up here. The man on the mark's 20 out, and he's gone beyond the 50.
Well, he closes to 40 to 38 on the siren, and that might give them a reason to put their hands together. Taylor Walker with the Crows' first goal in the third quarter. A little bit of niggle, a little bit of push and shove.
Essendon did it against North Melbourne one day, didn't they, Corey?
Yeah, Neil Craig just told his charges to take him on. He tried to rally him and really get him inspired. They just seem very, very flat. Brett Ratten, on the other hand, he's just happy with the way his side's going. He just wants to finish the Crows off. He
certainly applied the blowtorch at in that third quarter huddle, and it'll be interesting to see how they respond. Doughty does well and then goes long, kicks long, deep into the forward line, and standing his ground, Scott Thompson. We haven't seen much of that this afternoon at all. Long kicks to the goal square.
Terrific effort, Doughty. Armfield really had the set for the spoil, and Doughty took it strongly, and so did Thompson. And there's a 50, so it's a certain goal.
Not for the first time this afternoon. Scott Thompson on the end of a 50-metre penalty.
Jordan, out that way. Mark's here.
Scored a goal early in the second quarter from a double 50, and he accepts the gift again. They needed the first, they've got it, the Crows.
Yeah, they nearly blew it again, didn't they, with a handball to a flat ball. A bloke that had his back to him in the centre of the ground. And that quick kick, I know I oversimplify it a bit sometimes, but sometimes when you're in trouble, just play basic footy. Try and get some confidence back into the team.
Second 50-metre penalty to have cost Carlton a goal. Again, it's umpire Mollison. That might have been for abuse. Always hard to tell with those. We can't make any judgment. It's a goal to Adelaide. We can make that assessment of it. Margin 32. They can be one from there. Carlton's footy. Lucas with the ball. Careful with the pass to Houlihan.
Hold it there, Andrew. Thank you.
It's 2 goals each since half-time. Adelaide have strung 2 together in a minute. 1 before the bell, 1 straight after. Into Jardine Henderson, and a throw in at the 50.
Thumbs up, guys.
Inspiring performance from Judd. Back for his first game of the season. Marich and Cruiser. Marich bringing it down. Riley, Judd there. Ball up.
Was that in the back, Tim? That's that one we talked about, wasn't it? Particularly with the danger.
I think a lot of them are, and they tend not to be paid.
Yeah, I think wasn't that long ago they were paid.
That's Andrew Walker, the Carlton man, at the top of the disposals list. Some of them hard, some of them well earned down the back. Bernie Vince Another solid performance for the Crows, and Judd outstanding.
Cruiser to Riley, and then Cruiser applies the tackle.
I'll have it again.
Some credit certainly has to go to Brett Ratton for this effort this afternoon. He axed Waite and Thornton at the selection table Thursday night. So far, it's been rewarded to Murphy to apply more damage. One-on-one out, Henderson and Davis, the first gamer. Davis a little high, and then he tried the spear tackle, lucky to get away with it. Kick comes out, Petrenko meets it first. Can he control it? Simpson wraps him up. Comes out, charging his way, making his presence felt was Burton, and now the big Rutten is brought down, and good work ethic here. It might pay off. O'Halpin, a little interesting Irish Gaelic kick, I think that might have been. Just poked at the goals, and it's through for a behind.
It's a really good call. You know what it reminded me of? That was Jim Steins at his best. He used to do those little chip-over passes to teammates.
Oh, good mark by Lucas. Second gamer for the Blues. Carlton going for the jugular here. Andrew Walker, biggest possession earner on the ground. Carazzo under pressure. Cruiser. Lucas. Adelaide holding the Blues at bay. Gibbs.
Oh.
This is White. It's a bit of a mongrel off the left boot, but he got the job done to Simpson, who from there just might be a chance. He's not going for it because he has a call in short from Murphy. The angle tighter, but Murphy a right footer. And that's the friendly pocket where Carlton players, before they go to the visitors' rooms, have a few shots. Is it Malcolm?
Yes, Tim.
Murphy on the angle. Opens it a little. Hooks the kick. So it's Carlton by 34. Adelaide still needs 6 goals to win this, more than they've kicked in the first 3 quarters.
And it's Doughty on kicking duties. Short. Mentioned Andrew Walker, Tim. Well, he's career high 33 disposals at this point in time. Still got most of this quarter to go. So the leading possession getter on the field, Andrew Walker. McKay, nowhere to go forward, so sideways. Rutten, Davis. What initiation into AFL football. Former top 10 draft pick. Pokes the kick. John Cock in the middle of the ground. Held up by Judd. Dabs it. Goodwin can run, can unload. Instead, looks for a target. Tippett floating across. In fact, it was Knights rather. And Knights marks on his chest. Left footer to go back and have a set shot, and let's hope Malcolm he puts it through.
That's Simon Goodwin's first kick for the day. He's had 8 other handballs, but first time he's touched the ball with his boot.
Michael, just another metre back, please. Thank you. Right there. Thanks, Bryce.
So the Crows, 2 goals in the opening term, 1 in the second, 1 in the third. Knights on the approach. He splits the middle, and the Crows have got 2 in the last.
Well, Tim, is this the 3-goal rule happening? We're two-thirds of the way through it.
You apply the 3-goal rule now, and the margin comes back to 10 points now. Game on.
Well, you've got to reload. You can't reload. It's got to be a 3-goal rule by itself, because the 5-goal rule comes in then.
I don't think Brett Ratton will be taking a victory for granted here. Adelaide have kicked the last 3 goals. The margin is back to 28 points. Plenty of time left. And if the Crows could come at the Blues, Carlton could become jittery. Marriage and Cruiser. Edwards wanting to crash through. Forced away from goal to McKay. Now the build-up on. Taylor Walker down the flank. The lead is from Tippett. Long way out. Difficult position. But the Crows are pressing. Momentum is gathering. Kurt Tippett, goalless for the day. Just 1 goal so far for the season. He's got them in his sights. This, from a difficult spot, could really bring the house down and get the crowd involved. From on the 50. Always way near side. Disappointing result.
That was a nice build-up, Tim, but they don't have a lot of shots there after training because that's not near their race.
They are dominating the game at the moment. Again, Carlton unable to get the ball out of their back half. Murphy with the footy.
Move it on now.
Has to move on, and that means he has to go along the line. And he has a target in Gibbs. Carlton losing their confidence now, tightening up, realising the game that they've totally dominated could just get out of control. Gibbs goes long for Warnock, 2 against him. And Adelaide with the crummers. Edwards, that was good. Dangerfield released, has a look, delivers. Burton not quite able to snare it. And on the rebound, the Blues are dangerous. And this is Garlett under pressure from Cook.
Oh, what a contest. Well done.
It was well played by both of them. 2 on 2 now, and a ball up.
Oh,
Umpire lets it go.
Yeah.
Now there'll be a throw-in.
what a little mini moment. Fantastic. Both from both lads and everyone there. It's a big play.
Crowd really getting involved now as well. They've just seen a quarter to forget. Perhaps a quarter to remember. Over the top, Edwards just thumps it about 20 metres. Oh, somehow McLeod sockets off the deck, keeps it in play, only as far as Henderson. He's got a target by himself. Garlett can turn and run. Holds it up though. Jeffrey Garlett.
Move it on, Jeff.
Does what the umpire tells him to do, and as a result, no one home inside 50. Davis, here go the Crows again. The switch is on. Over the top to Edwards. Has a couple of bounces. He's got Warnock trying to corral him, and he knows he can take him on. A burst of pace, and then he goes long up the line. Oh, the push out from McKay. Silly. He was caught behind in the contest. Probably had no other option. And Simpson will take the free.
So just over half the quarter gone. Adelaide have kicked 2 goals, the only 2 of the term. Armfield for the Blues. Lucas has Jamison on his own behind the wing. Burton closing. Kick too strong for Robinson. Doughty bringing it down to McLeod. Couple of old hands for the Crows. A lovely hand pass. Releases Knights, and he has a man loose. Poor Pleasure outside 50. Desperate diving save by White of Carlton. Joseph and Gibbs. Gibbs got the head over the ball. Drew the tackle. Carlton's footy at half back.
You called it. White. That's fantastic for a first gamer, Tim, isn't it? I mean, that was courageous. He knew the bloke was coming, and he's absolutely thrown his body full length with a fist. Well done, son.
Desperate stuff by the first gamer. Hope continues to dangle before the Adelaide Crows, but time is running out. Armfield knows that, so goes backwards to Walker.
Oh, big switch on here.
The defensive general this afternoon, and the switch is on. Carazzo. Got time, got space. Short, Betts. And he goes short and wide.
Garlett.
To Simpson. Over the top is Garlett. Who's on him in this last quarter? Seen plenty of the footy. Searching kick inside 50. O'Halpin comes out like a steam train. Needed to beat 3. And good one at the fall of the ball. Needs to get around Judd. Judd was all over him. Warnock just slaps it onto the boot. Ambitious. And the mark is paid. So Henderson keeps it in play. Just dabs the pass. And this could be the killer blow for the Blues. Houlihan with a chance to perhaps seal it. Just over 7 minutes remaining.
Probably one of their best kicks in the team. You'd like your hands on this with Houlihan, Tim.
Certainly got the skills to do it, but you just wonder sometimes about the temperament, and this is a fairly tense moment. He knows a goal would win it. If he kicks this, Carlton have the game in safekeeping. Pressure
kick for the veteran, for the Blues. Ryan Houlihan on the approach. He's a beautiful kick, and this time he delivers. And good night, Adelaide.
Well, it took a while to get there, and there's been some agony and some pain for Crow supporters, but there's also been some jumpy moments for the Blues supporters, and that may very well be it. All right, probably is. It's probably been there for a while, but the Crows were pressing, and stranger things have happened, but gee whiz, they're going to have to put some goals on the board very quickly.
Ryan Houlihan delivering the killer blow. Carlton by 31 points. And his has been a solid contribution today. The longest serving Carltonian of this team, Houlihan. Here's one of the shortest serving in Kane Lucas. Adelaide there with numbers. Goodwin over it. Dangerfield wrestling it out. But Murphy's got it for Carlton now. To Judd. Going beyond Robinson, who gave the lead. Doughty at the back. He didn't know whether he was coming or going. He opened the door for Gartlett, who kicks a magnificent goal.
Some things you're entitled to. Oops, we now see the Crow supporters going. Some things you're entitled to do on a footy field, and that's real panic from Doughty. Just missed it, and that is just instinct, absolute instinct from Gartlett. One quick look over the shoulder. I can kick that. Why not?
So Jeff Gartlett, first cousin of Buddy Franklin, showing perhaps why the skills run in the family. And kicked a couple this afternoon, ices the game for the Blues. It's back out to a 37-point ball game. Same margin as at half-time. Again, Carlton send it forward. Davis juggles the defensive mark, sweeps the handball. Rutten, John Cock. Along the line, Douglas in front of Simpson. Goes, he takes Simpson on, and he was ambitious, and he's been pinged. And Carlton win possession.
So in the last 6 minutes, the Blues by 37 points. Adelaide just 6 goals for the day. And it's going to be another pretty mediocre score that the Crows will return. Going into this game with an average per game of just under 60 points. Carlton soaking up some time. Scotland goes for Cruiser. Tip at the spoil and the collect. Petrenko losing it, getting it back, giving to Goodwin. Modest day. Douglas well smothered. Betts, Judd, Carlton are out now. Long ball into an open 50. Houlihan waiting, pouncing. Did he get his boot onto it? He did. He's kicked his third of the day, and Carlton are pulling away now.
Yes, the skipper's had a fair day. Houlihan 3, just got his boot on. I thought he was being held, actually. I thought he might have got a free kick, but he eventually got his boot on it. And I was going to say that the 37 points prior to that goal was a score at half-time. So Adelaide had actually held sway, or been even with them at least, but now the Blues go that extra 6 points from half-time to 43 points.
No surprises, Judd involved here.
So I just thought he got held on to Houlihan, so it was probably a free kick anyhow.
So Carlton on the verge of a big victory here at AAMI Stadium. And they've got a tough draw to come. Geelong, Collingwood and St Kilda for the next 3 weeks. Doesn't get much tougher than that in season 2010. Houlihan again, surely not for his 4th. He loads up, it won't have the distance, but Henderson uncontested. Half a dozen Crows just watched that. And Lockie Henderson a chance to go back and add to the pain for Adelaide.
Hey, that draw is pretty interesting, Kelly. That's a tough draw, isn't it?
Geelong at the G, Collingwood at the G, and then St Kilda at Etihad.
Cool.
As Henderson just strolls on in elementary and continues the torment.
So I must say that one of the things we're forgetting about in the new rule changes, Tim, was that the mark in the goal square actually goes straight back now. Not that long ago, you'd go back on the angle. So those sort of marks that he took then would have been on an angle. And so occasionally you missed them. Now you don't, of course. So goal kicking's actually probably even worse than what we really think it is from a few years ago.
Good point, Malcolm.
Thank you.
It's blown out now, and Adelaide with another tough one next week. A trip to Melbourne for the Bulldogs, then the Derby, then the Tigers, which is a winnable game, and then a trip to Melbourne for the Kangaroos. Brett Ratton with the month from hell in front of him, but this is a good start. A morale-boosting win over Adelaide in hostile territory.
Tigers round 7. It could be 2 winless sides heading into that blockbuster, Tim.
Well, the Tigers have got Melbourne before this weekend's out, so you never know.
I mean, if they could win one of those, they'd be 3-3, Carlton. And after, well, that'd be right. No, they'd be 3-4, wouldn't they? So not out of it.
Tough games ahead, though. This is a really difficult phase of their draw. Marriage to tap. Dangerfield over the ball. A free kick to Adelaide. And quick movement here. Vince pumping it in. Jamison the spoil on Thompson. White taking it away for the Blues to Carazzo. And Henderson. I've liked Henderson's last quarter. He's worked up the ground. And he knows when to put the ball overhead too, just to soak up a bit of time, lest that 49-point lead be jeopardised.
A tricky slow him down thing.
Wipe the boot of one foot on the back of the other calf, perhaps. It's got to be high, though, for maximum visibility, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Bit of a dance.
Yeah.
Here goes Thompson. Burton there, Jamison with him. He's a good defender, Jamison. Douglas arrives for Adelaide. Keeps it alive. Burton, impossible angle there. Petrenko being taken further and further from goal. Now out to the 50. Simon Goodwin from outside the arc. Quick kick to Doughty. Couldn't hang on. And the Blues are able to sweep it away. Simpson.
In front of the interchange gates, Garlett in a foot race with McLeod. Well, nearly kept it in play. Not quite. Malcolm, no team has made the finals after losing the first 4 since the introduction of that top 8 system in 1995. Any hope whatsoever here?
No.
Thank you.
Was one team that went 0-4 a long time ago, apparently.
Let me guess. It involved you.
Oh, did it? Oh, I'd forgotten that. Someone mentioned that to me.
You just told me that. 1975 North Melbourne.
Was it really?
It was.
Wow.
0-4.
Wow, what a good, must have been a good team.
You
good
turn
coaching.
it around. Perhaps you need to go in midweek and you could tell them your story and that would inspire them. Poor pleasure. Late to salvage something not to be.
Well, it's not impossible then, is it? I mean, just because it hasn't been done before doesn't mean it's not possible.
This team, though, really does seem to be in trouble. It's lost something, it seems, between seasons.
Someone talked about mojo. You lose your mojo as a team. Can you help me with that, Tim? That's a really different. How can that be so? I don't understand that.
You don't know what a mojo is?
No, I've looked it up in the dictionary and I can't find it.
It's what Adelaide have lost.
Ah, right. Can you find them? Can you go to the shop and buy another one?
Yes, mojos can be found.
Okay.
But sometimes you've got to look long and hard.
Ah.
Scotland for the Blues to Simpson.
Is this called filling, Tim?
You're doing an outstanding job. There's not long to go. Those of you watching and listening will be pleased to know. Carlton's footy down the back. Murphy, that famous number 43, being worn by Simon White.
It's been all right too.
Kuda Fetties rang him Thursday night to say congratulations and enjoy. So Kuda's still involved.
Malcolm, it strikes me that Adelaide have been doing the same thing for a long time under Neil Craig. It hasn't quite got them there, and perhaps that's really dawned on the players. They've worked long and hard And at some point or other, when you're doing that and there's no sign of anything new, and this isn't to blame the coach, it has a lot to do with cattle, you must start to wonder, are you ever going to get there?
Yeah, that's true. I think the elusive goal and the elusive dream, when you start losing, becomes so... It's like Mount Everest, you know. It's almost impossible to believe.
The Blues running down the clock. Painful to watch for Crows fans. Robinson sees it over. Lucas has been really good in his second game this afternoon. 25 touches, including 10 marks. And Robinson giving his all, as he always does.
No holes, boys, no holes. Focus the footy.
It's the Blues by 48 points. Vince, short, just grubbers the kick to Davis. He'll be better for his first game. Walker, they share it around. Edwards getting some late touches, adding to the stat sheet. Dangerfield, just an effort in itself to be out there this afternoon. And there's the siren to end the pain for the Adelaide Footy Club. The Blues season back on track, and the Crows season in crisis.
Carlton's first win against Adelaide in 8 encounters, so it ends some agony for the Blues, and they do it resoundingly by 48 points.
This has been a Fox Sports presentation.